Way.
Yep. So I'm just editing all this again.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with the link as is.
No, it's not for kids. Why doesn't it let me do anything before I click that? Introduction to. I'm not right. Introduction to episode 14. Oh, it's the other way around. Okay. Okay. Thumbnail. I have it here ready. Push it. Set it. There you go. Shaman and philosopher. Finish. Save.
Okay.
It's right, just waiting for it to save. I already did everything. We just need to share the link as soon as it's saved. There it is. Saved. Get share link. Copy it. I'm going to share the link with you here in the chat.
I got us. I got us. Yeah, I already got us. But yeah, put it there in the chat. Go to the old chat. Can you still
No, no,
see?
it's one chat per live.
No, the other chat's still going. I can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah. Oh damn.
I,
Nope.
but you're not on the app.
Just the replay. All right. So I'm gonna take this one and throw it along. X.
This is not my
All right.
ex.
You're going on mute for 1 second.
Quote. We are back. I have this in front of me. Okay, it is done. So hello and welcome to another introductory video here at the Shaman of the Philosopher, and tonight we are going to introduce our next guest. That is Lee Pennington. For those that already heard this, I'm sorry, but we had some technical difficulties with sound, and so we had to take the live down and start this one all over again. So what we intend to do today is not only speak a little bit about Lee, but share a video that I recently posted um, from Lost America, and we're going to play a little bit of an episode where Lee Pennington is talking to a friend and also a co-host on our Roundtable Chronicles, that is Rick Osmond. And that will be done by Jason, that I don't know if he's getting ready.
Yeah,
No?
so I
Yes?
think I think I'm making sure my ex because we're doing this, boy, we're rushing. Okay, so it takes us to our live. Okay, so my ex post is good as well. Um, yeah, guys. So just a quick recap. We're gonna look at the work of Lee Pennington, who we are blessed to be interviewing this coming Wednesday live, and we really, really believe he deserves a proper introduction. And so we're going to take a look at a documentary that I myself watched this past Sunday. Gets into some really fun rabbit holes. I'm still spreading the new link for us, Ricardo.
Sure, okay.
Um, where we talk about Welsh speaking Native Americans and all sorts of very, very interesting things. Um, yeah, here we go. Let me throw this around, boss. I got us one more try here.
Sure. I take the opportunity to say to Sarah, yes, we have the no, not for children press pre-selected, but it doesn't work for lives. So each time I upload the recording, it is pre-selected, but not on lives. And the first time we went live, they even tried to shut us down because that was not pressed. We received a message here on Riverside saying
Yeah,
that
I guess
if
we
we
got
didn't
some
do
news or
it,
something.
they will shut us down.
Yeah.
So,
The systems, the machines are against us, man. It's so
yeah.
fucking obvious now. But
Get
it
us
is.
some golf
We
shoes,
are
man,
we
or
are up
not
against
never
some
get out of here
boundaries
alive.
here, guys. You know, it is on. It's not all buffoonery. We've got a few boundaries, and we're trying to be most efficient as we can with it.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous that such good software as Riverside doesn't have the basics to allow us to do all this before we go live.
It's true. It's true. It's very true.
So I'm gonna need a second here. I'm gonna put you
Sure
on
thing.
mute. I need you
We're
to lead
starting
things.
around.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, excellent. And guys, so here, let me take a look at the chat. Now that we're back. Um, okay. So hey, what's up, Sarah? I can't really see how many are watching or who's watching. But what we are in for tonight, now that I got this audio running again, my daughters were here and they had to leave. It's time to go over to their mothers, and I had to help pack them out, apparently. But I did get to practice my miming, which I think Sarah at least got a kick out of. So what we're going to do here tonight is we're going to take a look at a documentary of Lee Pennington's as I make sure I corrected these links. Yeah, sorry, new link. Didn't mess up there. There. Okay. So our guest, Lee Pennington, we're going to watch a little bit of his documentary. I've got queued up here. Ricardo shared on X now that he's back with us.
I'm back.
Okay, I want to double check. Do you like my miming?
Hmm.
So that was my homage to. You ever seen the Marx Brothers? Man, and I think it was a night in Casablanca. Anyway, in many of the episodes, there's great rhyme scenes between Harpo and many others. Who's hilarious, man. So that was my homage. Okay, now I need to get back to Ricardo. The only thing I think we have lacking in that little scare to fix audio is a copy of the link to your page to this documentary, since I'm going to be the one playing it for us.
So what do you want me to do?
So I think this is a new link, so it's not in our private studio chat.
No.
It's a YouTube.
Oh, you needed the link again. I can give you again.
Correct.
Right
X
away.
for the Lost America is the name of the documentary
Yeah.
series.
Yes.
We're going to be taking a look at, guys.
So I need to go to bookmarks again.
Yeah, and while Ricardo's doing that, I will. Guys, I am not the world's greatest multitasker. If that's not readily
Copy
possible.
link. I'm done.
Um,
Sharing the link.
but now that
I'm gonna put it also on the.
episode that we blew.
It's
You know the good thing, Ricardo, I didn't share the first one to YouTube, so
paste.
I gotta go to Facebook.
Okay, I put the link both in the public and in our chat, so you can get it any other way. No, this is studio chat. I want the public chat. Here we go.
Right. Okay. And then YouTube, and I'm done with PR, man.
Yeah.
Create post.
So we also should see how long does it take us to do all this? What was that? 5 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
So
can
we know in the
we
future.
we can play a song while we do all of this in the
Yeah,
back.
I think so. And the next time we'll play the song. What I can do before we click over. Okay, so let me guys
What's
make
going
sure
on
I
here?
have the documentary for us that we're gonna watch. Yeah, Lost America. Let's get it pulled up and paused. Brilliant. And back to you all there, and back to the public chat there. Okay, guys. Actually, after that debacle, man, I need another freaking cup of tea. I'll get that to start our our watch along here.
Sure.
What I thought, I don't know, dude. Is it inappropriate or is it appropriate to read a little bit of the introduction that you have planned for me to do for Mr. Pennington
Yes,
today?
we could do a little bit of that too.
Yeah, just to give everybody. I think it's important, that you understand who we're talking about.
That's I think there's no better way. It's all
So
there.
let's see, that was Google Docs, right?
Yeah.
That you sent to me with the songs. Listen,
I have no idea who is doing that, Sarah.
right after I sent you that A1 Nation song. So there's his Spotify list. I don't see, where did you send me? Finishing his intro now, and I don't see where you sent it to me after that. I know I had a
Email.
link. Ah, thank you, boss.
Email.
That's why. Boom. Okay. No subject. No, that's a Riverside. Gotta remember to keep this here. Lee. Here we go. Bingo, bango, bingo. Allow, what is this? Allow rivers. Yeah, I need to be able to see you. There you go. Allow minimized window. Okay, let's see how many windows we can get open here as we Google Drive Lee Pennington Word document. Oh, that's brighter. Okay. Oh, look at that, Ricardo. I bet I'm louder. Yeah, you put the mute back on. That worked while I'm reading. Put the mute back on while I'm reading. I didn't realize how loud you were. Look at that. Wow. Okay. Man, Ricardo wrote so much. Lee Pennington is one of those rare figures who does not merely write history, but is periodically struck by it, tested by it, and then leaves it changed. He is the author of 23 books, works that have crossed the invisible line between regional voice and universal utterance. 3 of them nominated for the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry. His words have appeared more than 1,300 times in over 300 journals across the world, yet they never lose the cadence of the holler, the gravity of the mountain, or the moral weight of lived experience. His poetry speaks fluently of love and land, of the feminine principle, of exile and belonging, of beauty that hurts and wounds that teach. You can tell what aspect might be Ricardo's favorite. It's probably Mr. Pennington's poetry, but as he says here, does not belong to literature alone. He has written plays that have reached the stage in Hollywood. Let's keep scanning. For decades, Lee also turned his eyes to the moving image, made many documentaries, textbooks, taught for nearly 40 years. I'm trying to skip some of your more eloquent statements so people have something to look forward to here in the documentary. So he taught for nearly 40 years, not as a custodian of safe ideas, but as a cultivator of dangerous ones. In Harlan County, Kentucky, so this is where we talk about the exile. We'll save that part of the story. In 1983, Kentucky State Legislature named him Poet Laureate for life. Quite the accomplishment. There's so much to this dude, man. And Ricardo, y'all, he writes so beautifully about him. You can tell what parts he really likes. But on, and that just gives you an idea of who we're talking about here. I think Ricardo, now, if you're ready on your end, we're gonna kind of start this walkthrough,
Sure.
watch through. Let me get to where, guys, there's so many windows.
I lowered myself a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, I think there was just something in the, just general noise from the background.
So I'm half volume
I think
now.
we're looking great. Okay, so here's our goal. Do we need to intro? You know more about this than I do. I just watched it for the first time. Why don't you, I know what we didn't tell you guys. So from our Roundtable Chronicles, we have with Rick Osman and Vincent Barrows. Well, you're going to get to see Rick in this with hair down to his ass. So that's quite humorous. But Ricardo, what do you have to say anything in particular now that we're finally rolling properly that folks might need to know about this gentleman before they start watching just some old documentary where he's talking about stuff that mainstream's going to tell you is, you know.
Well, I can only say what I know. So I met him at the AAPS conference.
Fuck you, Rue.
Oh, I'm not looking the chat. What
I'm
did
looking
you
at the
say?
chat. You know, and that's we. You know, Rue.
Yes, yes,
I've
yes,
watched
yes.
him speak Outback Ease
Yeah.
enough. He knows what I'm saying. But yeah, she does need to implement a training regimen, man. We are tech rookies, dude.
Uh, so I can say like I met him at the AAPS conference where I gave the presentation in October, and the man has a presence, right? All of that beard and a huge medallion always on his chest, no matter what clothes he wear, the medallion was always there. Um, and then he gave the presentation. I still didn't know who the fellow was, right? But it looked very charismatic. And then keep learning that he did this and did that and has 4 master degrees and has composed a full album of Appalachian music that I just listened today. Is amazing.
I spent the day
Yeah.
driving around listening to his Spotify, which is now I don't gather. Did he write the music? I know it's his poetry.
Oh, it's his
and
poetry
him
and his
reading
music.
poetry
And his music,
It's his
yeah.
music as well.
Yeah. Uh, so he,
See you, Rue. Thank you, brother, for everything.
in that sense, it's like one of those characters. Most people perhaps don't know this, but the difference between Chaplin and the other guy that did the stunts. What's the name of the other guy? It's from the time of Chaplin.
Chaplin. You mean Buster Keaton?
Buster Keaton. Okay, the difference between Chapman and Buster Keaton is that Chapman wrote the script.
Chaplin.
Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. You're talking about Charlie Chaplin,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
actor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Chaplin.
he wrote the scripts.
Like
He wrote the music. He directed. So everything that is in there, it was his creation. And this fellow looks exactly the same. Everything he does, it was him that did it from beginning to end. So, and I admired that. So.
I do too, and that to me is what was evident. Again, I'm very new to him. Once you pointed him out to me, I realized that I had come across him at just odd points in my life. I'd seen some documentaries, this and that, but that was it. So you have been my entree sort of into him. And tonight, guys, what we're going to do is start a documentary here in a second that has Mr. Pennington in it, along with our buddy Rick Osmond as well, and some other folks talking. Ricardo, do we want to give him a heads up? So we're talking about pre-Atlantic crossing. I mean, not pre-Columbus Atlantic crossing in this.
Yeah.
We're talking about a hunt for Arthur. Not so much the mystical one. I guess it might be better to say it even started kind of with Prince Marduk. That would be
Madoc. I think it's
Madoc. I think
Yeah.
that would be more accurate.
Yeah.
We're going to let the pros break it down for you here, but that's the
Sure.
subject
Just-
matter we're going to be dancing around.
While you put it on play, I just want to give a shout out to Chris Feinfrock, was the one that allowed me to put episode 9 and episode 10 on X, and we are going to watch one of those episodes now here, a little bit of it. So keep an eye for the Lost America TV series that's probably coming out in the spring. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it, guys. We will be interviewing, let's reiterate this before we play. We'll be interviewing Mr. Pennington. I believe, Ricardo, is it 7 Central?
Seven.
Earlier.
No, not Central. 7 Eastern.
7 Eastern, so 6 Central. That's why I had
6
6
Central. Yeah.
I am in Central. So 6 Central Standard Time, 7 Eastern. Say that 6 times fast, especially with a false tooth in, and it just becomes a whole new fucking game. 6 Central Standard Time, 7 Eastern. We will be interviewing live. Lord, please help us. We will be interviewing live the great Lee Pennington. Now, funny enough, the reason we decided we should do it live, guys, is our past Thanks for coming back, Christos. Our pass for Pacific. That's right. 4 Pacific, 6 Central Standard Time, somewhere in the middle, off in the mountains, and 7 Eastern. Um, what's up, Christos? We'll be doing a live interview. Now, we decided to do that, guys, because, again, the suite we've been using to do our recorded interviews, the past 2 times we've recorded something, the reason we started going live with the Roundtable Chronicles was we recorded one, and up to 45 minutes of it was just fucking shot by the software. And then in last night's interview, those of you that tuned in, you saw that we lost a wonderful 30 minutes, the end of the conversation with Ronnie. That's at the Abyss 369. What's up, Ronnie? Good to see you, dude. We're going to see much more of Ronnie. Anyway, we lost half an hour with Ronnie through the recording software, and we're not going to run any of those risks with Mr. Pennington. We'd rather run some of these technical risks than risk actually losing material. Because kind of that is the whole point of talking to anyone, you know, really anyone, any independent researcher, is to get the info recorded, you know, and to have it for you and for posterity. So that, at least for what we're working with at the fucking moment, the safest way for us to do that is to go live. Yeah. So thank you, everybody that's finding us with all the mix-ups. Our page, The Shaman and the Philosopher, as you see over your head, is a new YouTube page, and they have rules about who can go live and who can't. So that's why we're at our home base here, the Institute for Natural Philosophy, of which we are all board members. By that, I mean Sahara Cosmos and all Pulp Fiction in the chat, Jacqueline and Sarah. Jacqueline, Sarah, and I, are going to be co-hosting a live event for the Institute, and we've got to be at it early tomorrow. I think 10 a.m. my time. We're doing our dry run for that. So we don't have a date yet set, but we are at the dry run phase. So that's coming up pretty soon. Yeah. All right, get back to Zelda, and we're going to introduce Lee Pennington and a little bit of a documentary here for you guys. Watch along style. If I can, okay. Lee
you can.
I know I can do it. All right, so I've got Ricardo Calvario. Boom. Look at this. Remember to share audio in tab. Also, yes, share only the tab.
Have you put it in the correct position already, or are going to watch the whole thing?
Yeah, boss. It's ready. It's at the beginning. You want the beginning, right?
The beginning, and then jumping into their conversation.
Right. Okay, let's test audio. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on, it's soft.
Of research together.
Too much.
Both in the.
But we have audio.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what is too little?
Just tiny itsy bitsy.
It's quite nice.
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Wow.
There's our terracotta.
If you put it on
Like
if you put it on pause and then just play with the ball, you can see.
Really, you want me to pause what I'm doing and play with the ball? Now that could go many different directions. Does this have anything to do with olives, or are you saying that?
No. This time it doesn't. This time it doesn't.
All right. So you want me to begin with the conversation?
Yeah.
Okay. 2017, folks.
See, last Tuesday.
Rick, you and I have done enormous amount of research together, both in the field and in the books. But you know, one of the more interesting things that we've both been working on has been this King Arthur story. And the King Arthur story that we get is just so far.
Now I can't hear you, and I can't hear the share screen.
Okay, Ricardo, I paused the share screen, and can you only see those two gentlemen? Do you have anything else on the shared part of this?
No, I can only see you. Perfect. And the shared screen.
Perfect. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, and you go with mute because your cat is acting up. I'm gonna mute myself too, and let's watch these two guys.
Far wrong that it has no connection whatsoever with history. But there is a real story.
And a real history.
There's a real story, a real history, and a real King Arthur out there. As a matter of fact, two King Arthurs. One King Arthur back in the 300s who fights the Romans. Another King Arthur in the 6th century who fights the Klaxons. And there was a devastating thing that happened to Britain in the 6th century. Well, you remember what took place there?
An astronomical impact, or a comet or something hit the Atlantic Ocean and devastated the entire British Islands, as well as the east coast of what is now the United States. And it pushed debris and detritus 30 miles inland in the Carolinas. And we can prove that part. So there was definitely something really bad happened at that point in time. And it coincides with the whole Arthur II story, or Madoc story, which is how we got started on this. It wasn't Arthur, it was Prince Madoc.
Yeah. Our original research was out looking for this Prince Madoc, who in the 19th century was absolutely a household name all over the frontier.
Yeah, I was just looking up some visuals for the folks. But yeah, go ahead, Ricardo.
I think this part is interesting because it can resonate to those that have listened, even if only a little bit, of Randall Carson. Because although he doesn't include this part on his explanations, he speaks of this King Arthur having to heal the land after an impact.
The Grail series.
The Grail, yeah. So this is the search.
What is the Holy
land?
Grail?
Yeah, the search for the healing of the land. It's after this impact of the 6th century.
Yeah, so the author legend is in essentially that, correct? The land has become sick and withered, and it is that way until the king returns.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody knew of Prince Madoc. Everybody knew of the Welsh-speaking Indians, and it was just standard information after the.
Ricardo, should we give, what I was looking up was videos of Doggerland, because is that still, I just want to make sure that we're still talking about 8,000 or 4,000 years ago, that particular disaster.
I don't think that Doggerland was caused by this impact in the 6th century. There was no Doggerland by then already.
That's just me learning. All right,
But
cool.
I might be wrong, but I think it's much further back in time by what was found or can still be found in the shallows of what used to be Doggerland. It's more a Paleolithic site, so that's why I put it more or less around the 4000 BC mark.
Great. And for any of our listeners that aren't familiar with this, we know it starts out with what many associate with a mystical story, but that's not at all the point of this documentary. I don't think at all. At least it's not what I got from it. So,
Sure.
Hope you, so stay with us. See where it goes.
The 19th century, for whatever reasons,
It got squelched.
it got squelched, and that's what the Welsh call the combination of their alphabet and Latin. When it was used together, they don't call it Welsh and they don't call it Latin; they call it squelch. So, but there was certainly much information that was squelched, and but part of that's coming back out now. Part of that information, because people didn't run away from what was there to look at.
Nope.
And
Well, not everybody did. Other people tried to hide it, tried real hard to hide it.
And were pretty successful.
Yep.
But the thing that, and I'm going to share it with you here, the thing that has happened, we know, you and I know, and there are a number of other researchers who know, or assume from the evidence that we have, that King Arthur was on this continent.
And died on this continent.
And died on this continent, indeed. Here's another piece. The Hanovers, of
That's
course.
a strong claim.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, it piqued my interest, man. my time is very valuable to me, guys. And if I'm going to take something, even if it's just in a relaxing moment to watch, it's got to have something to it. And this has got something to it. But it is quite the claim, is it not?
Yeah, because we have been hearing tales of King Arthur and Merlin and all of that for since childhood, and no one mentioned to me what? No, the man went to the Americas. He died
Right.
there, right?
Right.
You never heard that.
It,
Why?
it
Because it is before Columbus, and that's why you don't hear it.
which we can't talk about because
Yeah.
King and Country said if anybody was there before us, that piece of paper is worthless and you can't claim it.
Yeah.
And then everybody that came over here kind of went, listen, fucking don't tell them what we found or make it sound shitty. And we're going to claim it. It's ours. Yay. In a nutshell. But yeah, no one had ever mentioned this to me either. Now, I know when you get in the Arthurian legend, you do hear about him going to whatever, Avalon they call it, or
Yeah.
all of that jazz. But we'll let the pros here tell you more about it. But no,
Sure.
this was brand spanking new information to myself.
Usurped the royal line. And the royal line with the Cymry can be traced literally back 500 years to Brutus, the beginning of the line. And it can be traced all the way down till it was ended by others, outsiders. But you get all the way into modern times. And you tell me why it is that before you can be King of England, you must first be Prince of Wales.
Now,
Now
explain that to us,
I
Jason.
know the story of Edward the First. Edward the First, the Welsh told him, "We will accept no one as our king who speaks a word of English, and we will accept no one as our king who is not Welsh." Only they didn't say Welsh; they said Cymry. And Edward the First's wife was pregnant. He took her over to Carnarvon, the castle. She had her baby. When it was born, spoke not a word of English. Didn't speak Welsh either. Didn't speak anything when it was born. So that worked. And it was born in Wales, so it was Welsh.
Yep.
And every king since has to be Prince of Wales before it can be King of England. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, unless you look at the background, it makes no sense at all.
And then you get the Kingstone, which is in Scotland. And they brought in that line that way. So,
Yeah. Well,
and nobody ever cared about Ireland.
you cover it up, you cover it up. It's like they made all of the castles either Roman or Norman.
Yeah.
The Welsh, I did a film on Alan
This is
Wilson
great.
and his work, and Alan sitting in front of a castle, and he says, "If I bend over and pick up that rock, I'm a Welsh. If I lay it up here, I'm no longer a Welsh because we're too dumb to do that."
I love that. And if I just hold the rock, I'm Welsh. But if I put it as part of a structure, as I'm not.
If not.
It's so true. Ricardo, I didn't know if you were asking me to pause it, but I wanted to let him finish that. bit
Sure, of
before
course. It's just a small comic relief because
Sure.
it's just ironic.
Oh, did you have anything for us? You want me to keep it going?
Yeah, you can keep it going.
Okay, sweet.
One of the major things that we've done in our studies is to delve into the ancient history of the Brits. Now, in delving into ancient British history, we found a peculiarity. In modern times, it's been regarded as a bogus history. And the reason for it being a bogus history
Is
comes
there
out
any
of
more
Oxford
lead
and Cambridge and London in England.
Is there what?
Is
No,
there,
Liege one.
is there more Lee there?
Yeah.
these two guys here, you're familiar with them. Certainly I am. And this was taken some years ago. This is Alan Wilson and Baron Blackett. And what you see here on the dark side is a stone. It's actually a tombstone. And what you see on the right side is a replica of what is written on that stone. And it says Rex Arturius, and that is King Arthur. And the second line in Latin reads, son of Myric. And we know from the records that Arthur's father was Myric, an Uther Pendragon. Arthur was an Uther Pendragon. There were at least six Uther Pendragons. A title, Pen. The word Pen in the Cymry, the Welsh, is the head dude. So it was Pendragon is just simply the king, the head dragon. Anyway, Alan Wilson, Baron Blackett, bought the property on which the Song of the Graves says that King Arthur's buried. There's a church there, St. Peter's Church. With a professional archaeologist, they excavated in that church.
We found that stone.
This is one of the things they came up with. A stone.
I just love seeing Rick and his hair. Now, if you
Yeah,
guys,
it's awesome.
yeah, I see we've got some new followers there. If you check out our Roundtable Chronicles, our star of that show is Rick Osmond, who has his coffee in his hand and his long ass hair, which he currently, and I have never known him by. So when I was watching this Sunday, I got quite the kick, as you can see, out of seeing my buddy there with that long ass hair.
And before you say that, I was just going to say that why would archaeologists do a dig in a ruinous church in the middle of nowhere, right? To start, that sounds a little bit suspicious.
Yeah,
Then there's nothing to see there. They just find this stone that says Rex Arturius Pendragon, right? And then it's exposed on that photograph. I don't know if you noticed the fact that one is dressed in white and the other one is dressed in dark, which is often, and for that time and period, very much, or could be, doesn't have to be, but
allegedly.
it was allegedly very typical of showing that they were into the occult somehow, or into some order, or so. I don't think that this stone ever got out of their grasp, but let's hear the story and see if we get any more on that.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not throwing disparity on the stone. You're saying that perhaps that's why we don't have it, is because the occult ties.
No, I'm saying that
That says
this was no common archaeologist that decided to go and do the dig, and the stone was not found by pure accident, and those that keep it and show it in the photograph are not an accident. So what I'm meaning is everything that I'm supposing here, allegedly, has been under control. That's more or less what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, anytime you hear about any tales of pre-Columbus or what we call European explorers, down here I study Hernando de Soto, new followers. You've got pieces of his medal from the Battle of Mobila decorating myself back here. I'm intimately familiar with these guys. And, a part of their mission involved them not finding and there not being any evidence of anything existing on this land, European, Christian, very advanced natives, right? So when you start looking at our narrative that we've all been handed, particularly in this country about the natives, let alone the transoceanic crossings, what you're looking at is much more than just the protection of a narrative. There's much at stake when you start saying, all right, original land claims don't mean jack shit anymore. Things could get messy. So there are very valid reasons why information like this is deemed fringe or crazy, or as you see here, we're alluding to even just kept from public knowing, not because it's crazy, not because there's anything weird about the fact that dudes with boats crossed water. It's just that there are all these now cultural and societal things dependent upon this false narrative being maintained.
Yeah. And thank you to Ancient Spirits for the follow-up.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you. We're new to the live thing. We're only a couple, like 2 weeks in, maybe, to sorting this shit out. So I'm trying to pay attention to the chat as well. Thank you. Good to see you.
Is Arturius Rex, King Arthur on the stone. If you died and were gone a few hundred years, and somebody found a stone where you were supposed to be that said Rick Osmond, I don't think anybody would question this was probably your tombstone.
I wouldn't be as famous.
Well, probably neither of us would do that, but at least they would say, well, yeah, this is not Jim Wilson's tombstone. This is Rick Osmond's tombstone. Well, one of the things that we do know, Arthur came to this continent, was killed by Indians on this continent, was wrapped in deer skin, mummified and wrapped in deer skin, kept in a cave, which you probably know more about than anybody in America with the work and the research that you've done on it. But he was placed in a cave.
Which, listeners, I've already emailed Rick to hopefully be a topic of a roundtable discussion soon. I'm hoping this week we'll get to talking some of the Welsh cave stuff.
So in here you watched Lee Pennington, it's not someone, saying that Rick is the person that knows more about it in America. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
here
I get to talk to him about
it's
it.
Friday. We talk to him every week.
It's the best. I mean, you can't be an independent researcher and be in a more enviable position.
And such simple
in.
such simple people. That's what I found in that conference. People that knows profoundly about lots of this stuff that is not well known, but they are just simple persons.
Well, yeah, and it's, as I've come to say, it's just on them, it's just in them, and my whole life, from high school, I was lucky. I remember my high school English teacher. By then, I was at a small private school, like 30 in our class, right? And this dude was fucking crazy, but he was a Vietnam vet, had one leg, and he was also the state poet laureate of the state of Georgia. Coach Kerbo. Coach Kerbo affected me deeply in many ways. He used to. I can't tell that story. Anyhow, what he did teach me was something about men with wisdom and people with wisdom and knowledge on them and in them, and ever since then, bro, it's been what I've sought. When I had the wherewithal to be able to seek it. And you don't know how blessed I feel, thanks to you and others, to be sitting here. Yeah, blessed to not only watch along, but we're watching along, guys, because one of these gentlemen is now on our weekly show, and the other one has agreed to talk to us live this Wednesday, and it's just such a blessed time, for sure. And I realize I keep coming white because I don't have the studio lights on. I'm trying to go in for the watch along vibe, so I got the candles going. And I'll stay away from the screen. But yeah, Ricardo, it's an amazing week to be able to sit here and let's listen to what they're talking about and then be able to say, and we're going to get some more info this week.
Kept a couple of years in the cave, and then in a very celebrated in literature voyage called Only Seven Return. And that ship was taken back. I think they sailed off the coast of Nova Scotia.
I think they did too.
There are two stones there with inscriptions that tell very clearly a figure, translated, by the way, it says that this figure's wrapped in a husk. So he's mummified. And so they're taking him back to Wales. And that figure, I'm sure, is King Arthur. One of the people taking him back, of course, was the court bard, King Arthur's bard, Taliesin. We know who he is because he says who he is. He says, my name is Taliesin. People will call me Merlin. So we know he's the the romance figure Merlin. They take King Arthur back to what is now Wales. They take him up the Uwany River. They take him up to Ogmore, put him in a cave. I've been in that cave. There's a dugout in this very, very hard stone, about 4 feet wide, 4 feet deep, and about 8 foot long, squared off place. And overhead on the ceiling in Coburn are the words that says, Arthur, King Arthur is here. Arthur continued to reign because his successor Morgan was not old enough to take over the throne. He was only 9 or 10 years old at the time Arthur was killed. So
the regent was not trusted by the populace.
Indeed. So Arthur continued to reign after he's dead. Isn't it interesting that the romances that Arthur says, if you ever need me after I die and I'm in Avalon, which is probably what is now America, if you ever need me, I will come back and assist you. Well, he does come back and he does assist.
Even though he's dead.
Even though he's dead. At Ogmore, he's there while he's taken out of that grave and placed in his final resting place.
At St. Peter's.
At St. Peter's Church in that field there. Well, we got interested since we're pretty sure that we know that Arthur's killed on this continent. I mean, we accept the evidence. It's a fairly overwhelming amount of evidence that says he was here and he was killed on this continent. We got substantial evidence, I think, to say he was killed in this area.
Yes.
And that's major. First of all, somebody, you may very well be right on Arthur being in that cave. I do know this, to call it the Welsh Caves, to have that name. You and I both know that names hang around and names are important unless they are purposely destroyed. You go to Wales now, you get a Welsh map. It's got names on it that were not on.
Okay, so any of you guys that have seen any of my shows, I'm pretty sure I'm right here, Ricardo. This is what Rick told us on the last roundtables. Is if any of these rock formations look familiar, that's because they're in the same area I've done filming in. Right? He said this is in Little River Canyon.
Yeah. So you've been around here.
So I've unknowingly
tombs all this time.
It's blowing my mind, bro. It's blowing my mind. So for new followers, my series Antediluvian Alabama on YouTube, on X, find me there, Shaman711. I spent years exploring Little River Canyon and DeSoto State Park. So when I'm sitting around Rick and he's talking about the Welsh Caves, and I'm just intrigued by the story, I think it was probably 2 episodes, later before he was like, well, you know where it is. I was like, do I? And I had a map of Little River Canyon up, and he was like, yeah, right there. So I was kind of tripping out on that. So what we can say for sure from my own independent research is that there was a lot of weird stuff going on in this area. And to add this to the mix is, what is it, Ricardo? Coincidence takes planning?
Takes planning.
Yeah.
In fact, in our...
So who would have had the maps? Here, let's do some live. Here we go, guys. Who would have had the maps, okay, knowing America was over here, all right? We know that the Templars and the secret societies had these maps. We've learned about the Orontius Phineas maps. Most of my audience, I don't have to restate all this. You know about these maps that have come down through to us, where some of our first supposed map makers were copying off of older source maps. And those maps show everything from Antarctica, which we didn't discover until like 1889 or some shit, and coastline of what, the New World, coastline of North and South America. Now, it has long been purported that the reason Columbus even sailed under his little Templar, I think they mentioned it in here, or Rick mentioned it in a previous episode, flag, is because these secret societies had these maps. and they treated them like you would any major state secret. Now, when you follow that thought through and you realize we're talking about Arthur, right? You're talking about whatever, a king who would have potentially been, had access to these knowledge. Obviously, they would have had these maps, right? This person, whoever he was, right? Whoever went to this cave, they came across, right? And now they, follow me here, this is all, let's go allegedly again, just thinking out loud, folks, nothing more. Okay, they would have known about antediluvian society, right? That's the other purported thing that Masons, that Templars, that all of them had knowledge of antediluvian society, pre-flood society, right? So what if they knew about this place? If they walk around and they start seeing the things, guys, I've showed you in antediluvian Alabama, you would know that this was the place. Now that is interesting. Let's look at this cave.
On the old survey maps of Welch. The old survey maps had the original names. Those have all been removed. The field of the crown of thorns, that's been removed. They're on the old ones if you can go back and get an old map, but the new ones, all of them have moved off. Mount Baden has been removed. The name. I mean, nobody could find Mount Baden. Look on the old map. It's listed right there on the map. And Alan Wilson got the old maps, and that's what he was working with. So, Mount Baden, go over there. He went over there. He found massive mounds, like there had been an enormous battle and mass burial in these mounds. And if it says Mount Baden, trust it. It is Mount Baden. And if you want to know where the Battle of Mount Baden is, look at the old map and it says Mount Baden. Go there, and that's where it took place. Names are so important. And I went over to a hotel with the Days Inn, I think it was, and stayed there. And I'm going to go look around, try to find that mound. And I went down to the desk and asked them about it. I said, no, they never heard of it. So I said to my late wife, Joy, let's just go out and start driving. If we spot it, we'll recognize it. So I start down the highway and it says Mound Avenue. I said, hey, why don't we try this? And so I turned down Mound Avenue. As soon as I turned right, I could see the mound. And I turned and looked back, I could see it from the hotel, but I didn't look out the window. And yet no one knew where it was.
Or about it at all.
Yeah.
Yet we were talking earlier about the forts I found across Indiana. I was out with our friends Larry and Sue.
Yeah.
And we were near an old grist mill south of town of Salem, and the road signs say Fort Hill Road. And I said, can we turn here?
Yeah. Trust them every time.
Yep.
Trust them every time. And those names, even though sometimes the object has been destroyed, the names hang around. And so
place names are enduring.
Yeah.
When you see one that says Indian Creek, well,
I really think, and I am going to pause it here, that this just touches to, it's so funny, the mound culture in America. It's like we treat it the same way, they're everywhere but forgotten. They're right in front of you, but nobody sees them. And then the name places, what that's harping on, guys, is the importance of firsthand accounts. As an independent researcher, it's one of the few things, that really irks me about so many modern day sort of archaeological research when you read, is the way they treat firsthand accounts of explorers and stuff. Believe people when they tell you something. That's the first place to start.
Yeah, I would perhaps stop it there, and I would just gonna instead share something that you were talking about.
Okay, great.
So that people can have an idea. Screen.
I was thinking it might also be good to give everybody a taste of his poetry or music, one way or the other, before we cut out of here.
So let me see how we are seeing this in the stream, like that. Okay.
Yeah, you're
So-
good, man. I got your map. You're all good.
So this is one of the oldest maps. So this is 1493. I don't know if you can recognize the Earth very well. What I usually do to
Is this supposed to be a
recognize,
world map?
yes.
So I'm not familiar with this one. I believe it's the Orontius Phineas map. Is the one that shows
We'll get
Antarctica.
there. So this
Oh,
is
we'll get. Oh, never mind. You got a plan.
so
Fuck
this
me, I'm
is
sorry.
1493, right? So this is the first recognized and easy accessible map. This is the same map on color. Now we go to 1503. Still very hard to understand what is what. But in here I can explain to you. So this is Portugal. This is
Portugal
England.
and Spain. All right, I got you. England,
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
The Isles.
This is the
I
Mediterranean.
see Italy, the boot. Yep.
Nothing. Right? There is nothing there. Even Africa is very poorly depicted. India is very badly represented.
Mm.
Now we move to 1548. The maps are so big, and in here you see now a complete map in 1548.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Nueva
La
España.
Florida. Yep, because De Soto had already been here. Yeah, La Florida is what they basically called all of America.
Yeah.
And now, why does this map again? It looks like it. I saw Antarctica referenced, and now we did not discover that until the
It's here.
1800s. There it is. Yeah.
And one
and
of the
he will
things
tell you, I copied an older source map, and the older source map says
Yeah.
it's there. You know.
one of the things I want you to notice is some of the maps will show here. Can you see my mouse?
Yes. Yes.
Will show a mountain here, a
In
huge
the Sahara.
a huge mountain going from here to here.
Yeah, and I think there are maps that show the Sahara. I mean, I know I've seen them that show that Sahara is lush and green with mountains, as you say, and even with rivers, which I believe I've seen LiDAR. You know, some modern research has actually verified these river beds on these ancient maps.
Now, in this map, what I find interesting, because this is 1553 now, is that America disappears once again, but we have Tartaria here, Scythia. Remember, Ronnie,
Scythian,
speaking
yeah.
about the Scythians?
I do. Yep.
Right? And now, tell me, does this look like an European vessel?
I don't know. Does it?
No, it looks like a Chinese vessel.
What's that?
And
the flag on the
coming
back?
exactly from where it should come, from the Pacific.
I see.
Right.
Towards the Americas. Yeah,
Yeah.
so apparently, I've yet to get taught most of it, but there's a lot of evidence for the Asian contact in the new continent, not just the European. That
Now,
being
this
North America,
is
South America.
1566, and you can see the difference in knowledge of the Earth. So this knowledge was not widely known in the 1500s. Now we go to 1572, and lo and behold, this every single side of the Americas on this side is drawn on the map.
And look how they've got the northern Arctic as a different landmass. That's weird. But yes, so we've got all of these old. So look at Terra Australis.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's a funny one.
Look at the huge continent there.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see if
Before we
there is.
discovered it.
I have one here. It's Descripciones del mundo. The images are so big that they take a little bit to load.
Sure, sure. So I think, go ahead, Ricardo. While you're looking, I was just going to talk, man.
Sure, go on.
Yeah. So one thing I want to do before we do, once we get off the maps, is if you have any good examples of Lee's poetry or anything like
No,
that.
I can show parts
Let me
of
see.
his book, but
If any of these documentaries you sent me guess I could open a Spotify and we could just play him reading. That might work.
Let me stop the sharing and go back to my folder because there is one map that I want to show.
Let me see how this works. Testing audience, just a test here.
I can hear it.
The poet walks in sun and the rain, the snow and the wind, and there is in his hands a soul pleading to know the earth. His hands are anxious come spring to touch the early dogwood blooms, to know a death on death when winter falters, and to know life reaching.
Now, everybody, this is our guest coming up Wednesday. This is Lee Pennington with his own music, his own poetry.
Yep.
Reaching earth. The poet walks in midnight where shadows speak out like all those yesterdays forgotten earth. His ears hear the songs of roaring mountains and dying rivers and lonely men crying in the streets and children screaming in the night and dogs howling on rat-infested trash heaps and a baby's sigh. The poet walks in darkness with laughter on his face and tears in his eyes. His eyes search the black world like a blind man picking roses, like a thin ray of light peeking through a crack in the attic and gathering all the dust and particles only the sun can know. The poet walks with time, with the constant clicking of clocks, of beating hearts, of swirling planets, of calendar pages being ripped and fed to the wind.
It's like fucking Dylan, man. Bob Dylan there. Yeah, I agree, Jacqueline. What an absolute treasure. I'm stoked too, if you can't tell.
So this is the
No,
most
they do not.
famous of the old maps.
So we have Europe and South America on the right.
And I just lost the map. There it is.
I see it. Yeah, I've got you, bro. I've got you, man. Oh, we're the Bimini Road. Yeah. Right there in your upper
So-
left-hand corner is something that looks surprisingly like the Bimini Road feature in Bermuda. Yeah.
An interesting thing is there are people debating that this in here, instead of being Antarctica, as most people think it is actually a perfect description of the coast all the way to the, what is it called? The point of Patagonia? Terra del
South America.
Fuego? Terra del Fuego.
Uh-huh.
So this would be the very horn, and only this would be Antarctica. Because they say that this letter was attached to a globe. So once you flatten it, you get the incorrect idea of what is
Yes.
being represented. You see what I'm saying?
Just like with the Mercator projection. maps.
Exactly. It's where Africa is forcefully made
Yeah,
small.
well,
than it is.
exactly. When you look at a standard map as you would see it, you're not getting correct proportions of landmass. It's not correct because we're actually on the globe, right? So when they flatten it out, it fucks with the ratio and orientation of the land masses. So they have what they call the Mercator projection map. Want me to pull that up, Ricardo? I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. Why not? Mercator. Not Jackson. Projection? That's a whole nother thing right there. All right, so the Mercator projection, here's a good, yeah, but I want an image, boss. Don't give me don't explain it to me. I do not like Bing. I do not like Bing. Okay, map projections. Let's look at images. Here.
And then after that, to end, I'm going to show you, just for the laugh, the map that we are told Columbus used to go to the Americas. His own map, okay? I'm going to show you his own map.
Okay, so this just breaks
Very
in
high
for
definition.
you. It gives everybody home a visual of what we're talking about when you're trying to take a globe and flatten it and show proper, projections of land masses.
Trying to get back to the show. Yeah.
Okay, so we've hit our hour mark, which is about standard. We really just wanted to give everybody, do Lee a bit, even though we just scratching the surface. I hope between his poetry and his speaking and his work, and we described how much he'd done, everybody at home has an idea of why we are so honored and so excited to be speaking and interviewing him live this Wednesday at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and 4 Pacific. Also, for those that didn't realize when you were watching that video, the other long-haired gentleman speaking with Lee is Rick Osman. Rick is a member of our team. We have a live show we do with Rick Osman and Vincent Barrows on Friday evenings, which we call loosely the Round Table Chronicles, in which I'm looking forward to diving into more of this Welsh cave stuff this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the map. Here it is. You see? I have this in several maps.
Of the Saharan mountain range.
Yeah.
Even
With
could
this,
look like a road of some sorts.
with this weird stuff. I can zoom a lot. This is high quality image. I'm still at 83%. So this appears in several maps under the Sahara, which I find very interesting. But my point is, we are supposed to believe that it got out of here. See, this is Setúbal, and this is Lisbona, which is Lisbon.
Mm-hmm.
So he got out, I think he got out from Sagres. It's down here. I can't read it.
Mm-hmm.
And went to the Americas, crossing the Azores.
Azores, I see the
Because
Azores.
he came around here, not close to that, came around
Right.
here. And went to a place he didn't know where it was. Look how the map is veiled in here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
no,
there.
I think he had maps. Maps were in existence. I think they were highly controlled commodity.
This is the public map. It's the
Right.
one that they are still showing us as his map that gets here, and it's a secret of state.
Yeah.
There's
look,
nothing
Columbus,
to see here.
Y'all look into Columbus's afterlife after he got over here, and you will see that this was no saint, and this was no good person in general. I mean, his actions, know them by their fruits. And to say, part of the story is to show this map and say he was courageous and heroic and sailed off the edge of the known world. Ooh. Yeah, bullshit. He had maps that said this was over here. They existed.
And explain this in Africa.
That's where the Ark is. No.
This?
Is that the Ethiopian church where the Ark of the
No,
Covenant? Ark of the Covenant is?
Ethiopia would be around here.
Oh, we're the biggest church. There you go. Ricardo, as I'm looking at Lee Pennington's Spotify playlist that you and I both spent the day listening to, was there one in particular that stood out for you? I'm gonna, as we outro, I'm gonna give everybody a little more of Lee and his poetry. Otherwise, I'll just go with number one.
What are you saying? Which one from the?
Was there one of his Spotify playlists, bro, that stood out to you? Otherwise, I'm just going to go by name, which
I have to open it up from the link that I sent you, but I think there's one that I particularly like.
Ancestors. That'd probably be a good theme for us to see what that one's all
Yeah, the world on fire. I think it relates to you somehow, but they are all very good. Or ancestors. You choose.
Okay. Our guest on Wednesday, everybody.
Explodes in the west, late, later than anyone expected or understood, long after the normal hour. The air is honeyed, katydids sing. Old women sit on their porches whispering through cedar and pine outside my attic window, whispering the names of dead relatives. Some of those relatives came to visit, squeezing through holes in the attic walls. The fire flickers in the west, almost out. Someone is racing to fetch more wood while we sing the old songs of perseverance in the midst of a world on fire.
Fuck.
Well,
Okay, and let's do ancestors.
We are the ancestors. We are the voices of the past. We are your ancestors. We speak from a time of global disease. We speak from a time of protests. We speak from a time of political upheaval. We speak from a time of addiction. A virus killing en masse. Silence in the empty streets until the protests begin.
keep it like that.
Disenfranchised roar. Governments against the people, police against the people, military against the people, race against race, religion against religion, institution against institution, ideology against ideology, gender against gender. What is touted as progress, what is touted as prosperity, what comes at a cost of clean air, comes at the cost of fertile land, comes at the cost of clean water, comes at the cost of all life. We are the voices of the past. We are your ancestors. We speak from a time of global disease. We hold the future in our hands. We hold the line for your freedom. We hold strong for a world where all life is cherished. We hold you in our hearts. We hold the earth as sacred. It is your earth we steward. We hold our failures to the light for healing. We are healers in a time of global disease. With love in our hearts, with peace in our hearts, we are your ancestors. We love you.
Woo! Okay, that was fucking fire. I am sorry. I'm not going to be able to do anything on Wednesday except ask him to do a whole bunch of that for me, please. Mr. Pennington, bring the guitar. I don't have any questions. Let's just do a whole bunch of that, please. We can direct everybody to the documentaries for the info.
Yeah.
I could sit and do that all night. OMG. JC, there's your shout out if you end up seeing this episode. Okay.
I thought you had listened to them all. I had listened to them all.
See, I didn't make it to the last one. I was out running errands. I have some friends without cars, and I was in and out of the car, and I got Jake, and I was taking him for walks, and I just kept it playing the whole day. So I didn't, that probably just was on the cycle through. I didn't get to Ancestors, which is the last one on the playlist. No, that was. I don't even want to say anything else about it. I think you can just look at my face. That was fucking awesome.
Our administrator says it was our first musical video.
And we don't have to worry about copyright because we're having the man on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So everybody, I hope in this past hour, listen, thank you so much, those of you that tolerated our botch up in the beginning, where we had to send new links. We're learning, crew, and you're learning with us. But I do hope you have a little bit of a better sense about who we have the honor of sitting down with this coming Wednesday. And we'll bring that to you guys live. Fingers crossed. Please come support, help, and we're going to sit down and talk to this extraordinarily rare gentleman.
Absolutely. So thank you all for staying with us. You can find Jason on X at shaman711 _, and you can find me as Ricardo Calvary 1, exactly as it is on the screen. go and look at our material. Lots of Jason on YouTube and Rumble under the same tag. You can find my material on History, Myths, and Legends on YouTube. Go and look at our papers about our recent research into copper, which the second phase of testing of artifacts is starting in the next weeks. You can find it at Academia Do under Institute for Natural Philosophy. Don't forget our sister podcast just released on Sunday, their flash news segment, which was extremely interesting. That I haven't heard about those dolls that
The
are made
autism
for
test, yeah.
for autistic.
Yeah, very, very good material.
Yeah.
And they've got
Why not?
Dr. Ed Barnhart, the world famed archaeologist.
Yeah,
they
from
just put
this
out a review.
Wednesday, 8 days. So it's not this
8
Wednesday.
days.
It's the other
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I know this Thursday they're going to have.
Which
a
I was
live
grateful because I thought we were going to clash the two shows. Was live with Ed with with Lee
I think
and they with
fortuitously we're good on
Yeah.
Wednesday as far as our community goes.
Yeah.
I know Wandering Wolf. Y'all go check out Wandering Wolf's new live show. Like I said to him, your show is not only one to enjoy but one to emulate, and we're trying to sort of, as we are new in this live thing, emulate some dudes in our community, and he is one to watch, and definitely one to aim for something of that caliber. He and Case Mythill. So we plugged everybody. Yeah, on YouTube and Rumble, guys, you don't need the underscore. The underscore, if on my screen name, is X specific. But I link all my Rumble and my YouTube on my X, so you can use that as a home base.
sure. And
Jacqueline says next week on Ed
Yeah.
Barnhart.
don't forget and look at the link in the chat where you can find those 2 episodes that were graciously allowed to be published from the magnificent Lost America series to come in the spring from our friend Rick Feinfrock and Rick Osmond. And I think,
And you can find that. I showed you guys on Ricardo's homepage, both of those, and that's
Yeah.
how I watched those. Yeah, you might want to retweet or put those up top now that we talked about them both.
sure, I will. So
Okay.
thank you very much for staying with us. And I think it's a wrap unless you have, I forgot something.
No, I don't think you forgot anything other than for us to continue to spread love and say thank you very much. And please come hang out with us Wednesday night at 6 Central, 4 Pacific, and 7 Eastern, whatever that means in the mountains. And we're gonna sit down with the living legend that is Mr. Lee Pennington. I love you guys very much. Thank you for all the support, and we'll see you then.
Very fond farewell to you all.